Hey, good Friday morning, everybody. BAM weather meteorologist Brett Waltz here. Hey, we have a very busy day of potential severe weather across the Ohio Valley, and then we've got a critical forecast update as we go throughout the end of May and into the early part of June. Let's jump right into it. Take a look at the current radar this morning. We have some heavy storms right now moving across the state of Kentucky. This has just been an area that has been hit over and over and over this spring. Today is no different, and this is just wave one. We've got numerous severe thunderstorm warnings right now in southeastern parts of the state. Likely going to be some flooding concerns as well. You can see that there's some training of storms. These generally kind of moving over the same location over and over from southwest to the north and to the east. Now, you can start to see some of the activity in southern Indiana clearing out. That's important because what will happen as we go throughout the day today is we will build in instability and it will set the stage for a moderate risk for severe weather. This is a 4 on a scale of 5 across southern Illinois, southern Indiana, western and northern Kentucky, southeast Missouri, and into northern parts of Tennessee and Arkansas. Now, I would not be completely shocked from a wind perspective if this moderate area was extended up to the I-70 corridor. I think maybe not as much for hail in a tornado threat. It's not out of the question, but I think that the risk for 80 plus mile per hour winds in the strongest storms is a concern. It wouldn't completely shock me if this is extended to the north. Now, I do think that your better very large hail and tornado threat is in where the current moderate risk area is, and we'll talk about why that is here in just a moment. But this is an impactful system that we're going to be dealing with as we work into this afternoon. I'm going to start you out with the simulated radar from the HRRR from this morning. This is on the synopticwx.com weather model platform here, guys. What we're going to start to watch happen are storms firing off out in eastern Missouri and in central and southern parts of Illinois as we work out towards about 5 or 6 o'clock. That's when this time is. I'll move this over so you can see maybe the time on this a little bit better. So again, 5, 6 o'clock Eastern time, give or take. What I'm monitoring here, I'll turn our drawing tool on, what I'm monitoring along the warm front, some supercells trying to develop here along the Ohio River, southern Indiana, and northern Kentucky. Any of these storms that can fire off along the warm front this evening between 4 and 8 p.m. will have the capability of very large hail, perhaps up to baseball size, 3.5-inch diameter hail, and a couple of stronger tornadoes as well. And then I think the threat evolves into a more organized storm cluster threat. We zoom in here, that will move through central Indiana as we work towards about 8 o'clock. Now you can still see further down to the south, we have some of these supercells. In fact, you can almost see the hook on some of these because that's in that warm sector before the cold front moves through. There's a ton of instability in here. We have kind of a southerly to southeasterly component of the surface winds. It's going to allow for these storms to spin, and again, I think very large hail possible with these. As we continue to go throughout the evening, note how the line continues to get more and more organized. 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock. That's where we're going to be dealing with just a notable wind threat extending from western Ohio down through central Kentucky, western Tennessee in here, guys. And I think that large hail and embedded tornadoes will also be possible as this continues to move through. If we take a look, just as an idea, we can look at the wind gust potential here. As this line moves through, we click around, you can see the model indicating 65, 75, 85 plus mile per hour wind gusts in the strongest storms as these move through, and you can kind of see them evolve across eastern Illinois, western Indiana, central and southern Indiana, northern Kentucky, 6 to 10 p.m. as we get throughout the evening today. Now, if we take a look at some of our dynamics here, here's a look at our instability. Extreme instability building, guys. Extreme instability expected to build across southern Illinois, southeast Missouri, western Tennessee, western Kentucky. As this surges to the north, that's where we could be monitoring for the risk of supercell development. So I'd be monitoring this area and then probably along and south of a line from here for supercell development and that very large hail and tornado risk getting into the afternoon hours. In terms of wind, we turn on our low-level jet here, guys. Note how it really begins to ramp up as we work towards about 7 or 8 o'clock. That's going to allow for, again, that cluster of storms to congeal into a line, and you're going to bring in a 70 to 80 mile per hour damaging wind threat with that line of storms in this region 7, 8, 9, 10 o'clock or so, diving to the south and to the east. And so that's the setup here. that we have working. There's a lot of different parameters in place to support all modes of severe weather, and probably initially, again, that tornado and hail threat, and then transitioning into the widespread damaging wind threat as we get into this afternoon and this evening. So more details available on the Clarity platform, guys, if you're looking for more specifics for your precise location. In terms of the forecast over the next couple weeks, we'll get into the extended range here. Cooler than normal to the north over the next 7 days, warmer than normal south and to the east, a big difference from where we've been most of this month so far. But as we get into the May 23rd to 29th timeframe, cooler than normal air will win out in the eastern half of the country. We may start to warm things up across the plains late in the period, but generally speaking, this is not going to be a super warm stretch. What does that mean for precipitation? Well, number one, it's very active in the short term. This is our most active period, we believe, of the month. After we get past the next 7 days, the pattern will start to dry out a little bit again. Now, I don't think you're bone dry. It's not going to be completely void of rain, but if you're in this red circled area and in the upper Midwest, you're probably a little bit drier than normal. If you're in the southern plains and the lower Ohio Valley, the trend has been wetter, and that's just been the trend all spring long. I don't really see a reason to disagree with that. The further south and east that you go, the more likely you are going to be to stay active. And so less active to end the month, not bone dry, and still seeing some issues with continued rains and maybe plant delays further to the south and to the east, lower Ohio Valley, and into the southern plains. Now, what about weeks 3 and 4? What about the end of May and into the first 10 to 15 days of June? If we take a look at the latest EPS Weekly, it's very active. This is an active look for much of the ag belt, especially further to the east. It's a little bit drier the further south and west that you go. It's also warm. It's pretty warm to the south and to the west. Generally, the plains are a little bit warmer and it's cooler south and east. However, if we look at the GEFS, I actually think that it's maybe doing a little bit better with the tropical forcing right now. You can see warmer in the middle of the country, cooler east. That pattern generally hangs around through the first 11 days of June. Well, what about precipitation? As we end May and start out June, it's more active down to the south and to the east, maybe a little bit of moisture to the north. In the middle here, guys, it's less active. It's not a notable dry signal, but it's, central plains into parts of the upper Midwest a little bit drier. As we continue to go along with the forecast, it's similar in orientation here to the EPS, but it's further north and east. This area is more active, and then this area in the middle is a bit drier. I think that's probably a little bit more of a realistic solution, and it actually matches up a bit better with our analogs. 2012 and 2018 are the best matches for tropical forcing and global winds right now. Now, they were similar with temperatures. 2012 was a little bit cooler, actually, in this time frame, but 2018 was wetter. 2012 was drier. I think a mix of the two ideas is very reasonable. Here's what that looks like. Now, I think that 2012 may be weighted a little bit too much in this. I think that this is too dry of a signal in this area. But I think the bigger signal here is the drier risk in Nebraska, Kansas, western Iowa. That signal is there on both 2018 and 2012. I think that's a reasonable type of a look. And factoring in all of that, here's our forecast. Warmer than normal for the middle of the country. I don't think it's notable heat. Maybe that starts to pick up a little bit in the central southwest plains late in this period, but warmer than normal in the middle, seasonable to cooler east. And in terms of precipitation, I think you're drier in the central plains, but I still think there's rain opportunities, and in fact, above normal rains. Ohio Valley, Tennessee Valley, deep south, and up into parts of the northern plains and the Great Lakes. If there's a drier risk of the forecast, I think it's more split flow, drier through this region in here. If there's a wetter risk of the forecast, it would be bringing in some of the rains more into this area in here. So that is the outlook. That's what we're dealing with as we get into the early part of June. Guys, that's all for today. Hope that you all have a great weekend and stay safe this evening.